What's going on, everybody?
What's
¿Qué
up?
pasa, güey, putas?
And what does that mean exactly?
It means, what's up, bitch?
Fair enough. Well, we are missing one bitch right now.
Yes, we are. But hopefully here in just a second, we'll have another one that's almost equal to the bitchiness of Paul.
There you go. There you go.
With a similar accent. We'll see.
Oh,
We'll
yeah?
see if he jumps on. Yeah, it's real close.
Real close.
That's real close.
So we won't miss the accent at all tonight then.
Groceries.
The khakis.
Go get your khakis, man.
Yeah, he was on a streak.
Yeah, he was. Now he's quit. He quit us, but we're going to continue to move on.
We always do.
Yes.
So how's the week? Anything productive, or we're just going, we're going to talk like that?
I mean, that's kind of how this is going to go. Yeah. I feel like that emoji, that. No, it was a great week. I got a new truck, so.
You did get a new truck.
That's awesome.
I did get a new truck. Thank you, my beautiful wife, Allie.
I love my GM, so I'm happy to see that.
Oh yeah,
we've got someone in the back room. Did you want me to throw him in right now, or?
Yeah, let's give him a second. He's got to simmer in and get the feel for the flow of things. I mean, we can't have him coming in hot like Paul does and calling people cunts and shit. You know, we need to
ease into it,
digest it for just a second before we go into the wolves.
Not talk right about snakes right away, like you know.
Yeah,
like
I'm not so sure that. I'm not so sure that he's ready for our 5 viewers. You know, he's got usually
it's 2. The big times.
So the 5, he's making it to the big time.
Yeah.
Well, we got 7, which is actually impressive considering the fat man right now is running, and I thought we'd have none, and I'm not on, so it is actually.
I'm not on either.
I'm not either.
So there you go. This is a true 8 right now. We are a true 8. That's awesome. No,
breaking records.
Did you happen to wake up
in my book?
Did you happen to wake up early this morning and watch Kresties and Coffee? They had an awesome guest on today. You might know.
It was a pretty good show.
I'm gonna
Paul was there.
I'm gonna guess you didn't.
He can make it to that one, but not ours. I bet he's in the chat on the Fat Man show right now.
So you didn't catch this morning's Kresties and Coffees?
I did not.
Okay.
It's
Chris
too early on a Sunday.
Chris was on.
Yeah.
You missed supporting your boy.
I'm sorry. It's too early. I do not. Wait, what time? What time is the show?
9 o'clock.
It's 9 o'clock.
9 Eastern?
Yes.
You know what I was doing at 9 o'clock this morning?
Drooling on yourself.
No, I was pumping some iron, man. I was in there kicking Allie's ass in the gym. Or she was kicking my ass. One of the two.
So then you absolutely had no excuse because you had probably ear pods in and you could have had it playing in the background.
Hey, I had it on while I was working, so
I'm gonna say this, that I don't think that listening to Chris and Crystal talk about geckos is conducive for me really hitting the reps that I need to hit. Maybe
it was a pretty pumped up show,
but I bet it was, man. I'm sure you guys do awesome. I know you guys do. I'll have to catch it on the replay. I forgot all about it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, we had 12 live viewers.
Yeah, Charlie jumped on and jumped back off and says, "Oh shit, Chris is on right now. Later, guys."
Yeah, that figures.
That's all good. He'll be back.
He'll be back. Charlie, pull out your business phone for Chris. Right? We get the private phone. Shall we bring our guest on?
We can. He looks like he's large and in charge and excited to be here.
But he's not large Marge.
He's not large Marge. Hold on, I'll throw him right on.
without further ado,
What's going
Hey,
on?
what's up?
How's it going?
the other Gerald,
The other Gerald.
the
Oh, it's
other
Gerald.
one.
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Joe with G.
You're
the Gerald. G,
I'm the J.
Yeah.
Gerald with a J and a G.
How you fellas doing?
Good. How are you about
Great
yourself?
yourself.
Yeah, pretty good. Long day today. Working on snake stuff, and we just bought a shed for the yard, so we're moving out of storage to the shed. So
A lot
Nice.
of work.
Is that going to be a snake room,
Yeah.
or is it going to be a rat room, or just storage for the
no
house?
storage for the house. Yeah, to
There you go.
get the declutter some.
Make
did
room
that
for
this
more
weekend.
snakes, right?
What's that?
You got to make room for more snakes, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. In the future,
Let's
right?
be honest. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did some of that this weekend. We Saturday, most of my day Saturday was spent cleaning out the garage. So I've got a project truck in there that has been in pieces everywhere and trash and shit just thrown. And I was like, I've got to get this garage cleaned out. So I finally put the wheels back on the project truck and got rid of a bunch of junk. I took a whole truck bed load full to the dump. So
Yeah.
it's not,
With the
I
new
can
truck.
walk around. I can walk around my garage again finally.
Well,
Nice.
it's because of the new truck. You had to use it as a truck.
I had to use it. I
I had to break it in, right?
Yeah. I even put on some like 90s country music and I flexed my bill on my cap real good and put my boots on. I was like, shit, yeah, boys, we're trucking. Get her done.
It was weird, like going through that time where we would bend our caps to people wanting to have the flat bill and that being cool, right? And then it was like the hat game has evolved so much over the last 20 years.
I have tried to flex this a little bit, but the way the hats are now, it's like they automatically come just with a little, but then you try to flex it too much and it almost pinches your friggin' temples. So I can't wear the hats like I used to.
I had some hats, some forward motion reptile hats made, and the company I used didn't work out too well, but they have like a gap right here. So when you put it on your head, if you're not perfectly round, if you can see, I got like a egg head, so it was very uncomfortable. And I was like, well, I gotta figure something else out. So I might switch over to beanies.
That'd be cool.
It's funny. Like when I was in high school and stuff, I wanted the fitted cap, right? So the fitted hats is where it was at. And I didn't want to wear this old mesh trucker hat like my grandpa used to wear. But now that I'm older, I'm like, the other ones are just too damn hot, and I like to be able to move it to where I can, stretch it out and I fit it just perfectly to my head. And the other ones, I don't know. They do the flex fits now, and it's not a good fit. They're large, extra larges, or they're small larges, or medium larges, whatever. My head's like in between the size, and it is too much constriction.
It's like Goldilocks and Three Bears. It's just not the right fit. The porridge is either too damn hot or it's too damn cold.
Yeah.
The hat is too big or it's too small. There's no true fit. So these ones here with the old school click and play.
Snapbacks, man.
Yeah. I hate the ones with the seatbelt. I hate those ones.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of those.
Nice.
Yeah, I got to get me a hat. I feel like I'm missing out.
And you are.
Oh, I'll join you.
Now we really do have Paul in the house, but a better looking Paul. He's a better looking Paul, and he's not so aggressive. Paul's like super aggressive. I don't know, and he always talks shit about Gerald with a J, but I think he's okay so far. He's been pretty mellow.
Well, I think when you get that crown, that 15 minutes of lame crown, it goes to your head, and you just think nobody can touch you after that.
Yeah, so, you can call in sick to a podcast, and we had this reschedule because he was on another podcast last night.
Yeah,
preoccupied.
We had a good show last night.
You did. I watched as much of it as I could, man.
Yeah.
The Bomb Project.
Wait a minute. Wait. You watched his show, but you didn't watch your boy on this morning.
Damn.
Oh.
I'm just saying.
I mean, at least I'm not watching Chris's right now. You know, I'm fully focused on what we've got going on.
It's good. We appreciate that.
He'll
I was
have to
not
watch the
fully
replay.
focused on theirs last night because I was killing terrorists while I was watching theirs. So I was sitting here like this.
Do you guys have Prime?
Yeah.
I do. Yeah.
I think every American does, as well as almost every Canadian. Did you guys happen to watch the new Roadhouse?
Yes.
No.
We watched it last night.
I watched it last night too.
Yeah.
It was
It
good.
is-
We're going to watch
good.
it.
It's funny.
Did you say you're going to watch it? You haven't seen it yet?
No, we haven't. We didn't. Paul told us about it yesterday,
Yeah.
so I had no idea about it. So we own a TV, and it probably gets an hour a day turned on average.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It was.
I'll take
It was
all
a
your
good
hours.
show. That's as far as I'm going to say. It was a decent movie. Maybe a little elongated. It was longer than it needed to be. Like they stretched it out a lot. But you know, I got a hard on for Jake Gyllenhaal with his 16 pack of abs, and I was like, I'd fuck him.
He did look good. He did look good.
He did look good.
And Conor McGregor makes an excellent villain.
Oh, he's a fucking douchebag. He's a 100% douchebag. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, I could see him being that douchebag probably in real life.
It was like you wanted to hit him.
Yeah, 100%.
That's playing the role right there.
Oh,
Yeah.
he encompassed the role. He was definitely, he was definitely that guy, and he has that walk, like that walk that he does on when he's in the UFC, where
Oh yeah.
he's almost leaning back, like he almost think he should fall backwards. He was doing it the whole time, and you're like, how the hell do you do that? But he did it, and it was impressive.
Both of them are beasts. Like I was sitting here thinking about it. Like I remember watching some of his UFC fights. I would not want to get hit by that motherfucker.
No.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Like I would rather slam my dick in a toilet seat 16 times than take one hit from this dude. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just not trying to be. I don't know. I'm not trying to do it because you know he's got a friggin' solid jaw. It's like lock iron. So even if you fucking stick him first and hit him with a haymaker, he's not gonna wobble. He's just gonna look at you like they did in that movie and be like, "Okay,
Laugh it off, and then come for the punch on you.
game on, bitch." I'm like, "Oh shit."
But if you have time to turn your TV on for 2 hours, watch the movie. It's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
No,
we got time. It's just that it's like I got other stuff to do. So, and I try to make that the priority. So, from the
Crystal
snake
says,
stuff to the house stuff,
oh, for sure. Life itself is all encompassing. And then if you got kids and you got other stuff on the go, and we all take on these hobbies that you could literally spend no time doing anything for yourself and always be working and doing something.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, Gerald.
what's up?
I just realized that we didn't really give you a proper introduction for the people that may watch this later that don't know who you are. So give us a spiel, man. Tell us who you are, what you breed, what you do, how long you've been doing it. Just talk a little bit about yourself, man.
So I had a ball python. I think it was a ball python, a rainbow boa, and a Dumeral's boa at one point. So like 2009 maybe. But before that, before I went to the Navy, I went to the Navy in 01. I had a ball python, and my friend had a bearded dragon that lived with me, if I remember right. I had the ball python, but so back then, I was into BP.net and was the biggest one. I didn't know about King Snake and Fauna, and I didn't know about Nerd or Brian Bart. All I knew about was BP.net. Hey, my snake didn't shed. and go on bp.net, and they tell you what to do, whatever. So and so back then, the biggest thing, like the difference between today and then, is like husbandry is completely different, right? And so there's that part. But then I go to the Navy. I get out, get up to North Dakota for my job. Don't realize why there's no snakes at Petco or whatever. So we got a bearded dragon there. And then, recently found out that back then constrictors were illegal there. And then that one guy that's up in like Minot or something, he got it legalized all on his own pretty much up in North Dakota. So that was cool. Then I moved out of there, got there was, so maybe like 2009, 2010, I had the Dumerals boa, which was amazing, and a rainbow boa, which was amazing, and a ball python. And that was over in I transferred over to Oregon, and there's a pet shop up in, I can't remember. I could look on the map, but that was the first time I ran into Hots. So he had like a or a king cobra in a big tank, and a gaboon viper. And then that was also the first time I ever seen like a Burmese. He had a Burmese python. Which one can you keep out? Not the retic. The Burmese or an anaconda doesn't necessarily have to. So it had to be the Burmese. That thing was just huge. And but I still knew nothing, right? So I didn't know that there was an industry or whatever. So I went truck driving. Funny story there was a guy that had a retic on his truck, and he brought a student. So he got fired that day. The student went running in telling everybody. So it turns out he had like this 18-foot retic on his truck that he raised up from a baby for however many years. That was pretty cool. And then I was over the road for a long, long time. And then in 2019, I decided to take like a more local job where I could be home every day. And then just one day I was like, man, I can get another snake again. I'm single. I don't have all these restrictions on me. I can do whatever I want. So up until that point, if you ever want anything outside of reptiles, you want Craigslist. So that was my first shot. I went on Craigslist, picked up a couple ball pythons, and then found out about Morph Market. So and then COVID hit. So pretty much right at the same time COVID hit, I was buying snakes, and then found out about the Xanthic clown and ran into that. I just wasn't willing to pay Xanthic clown money, So because it was
It's high.
yeah, it was 5,500 or so when I started, somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
So I started listening to all the Sean Bradley stuff, all the Chris Eaton stuff. Listen to Hardwick and who else? And I'm not to bash on the one guy, but I started listening to him. I found out pretty quick because of the trucking company that he wasn't the guy to listen to. He was preaching reinvesting your entire profits for the year back into the business, and I'm like, yes, that if that didn't work on a 500,000 a year company, it's not going to work on what we're doing. So I just stopped listening to him pretty quickly, but he's pretty popular today, one of the most, and I think it's sad, but so we started Doodlemorphs. If you guys remember Doodlemorphs, that was me, and then we went through our catastrophic event via the veterinarian, and that whole story is on Samson Snakeatorium's What's in Your Cup episode. I think it was like somewhere in the 20s or 30s. I forget the exact number. It was very early on. And then I put the story out because I was like, you can't find any information on this. And I didn't want it to be a secret. So, and I wanted people to learn. But the bad side of people, taking that road was people started to treat me like the veterinarian. And I'm like, no, I'm not. And I was getting everyday pictures of dead snakes, sick snakes, and snakes that were almost dead. And I said, I'm not the veterinarian. You need to get to a vet. This is really bad. But and it I was already like, dealing with my own stuff. So when you go through what I went through, you have to go through a 6-month hiatus basically to let the disease die off on its own.
So what
So
did you go through, man? If you don't mind talking about it, what exactly were you dealing with?
arenavirus or IBD. So I had we did a breeding loan with a guy, and his snake sneezed, and it wasn't even one of the snakes that he was breeding with ours. So me and this was also at the same time Nido was getting big into the industry, so people were getting really nervous. So to calm him down, I was like, look, when we'll get the snakes back, I'll buy that entire clutch. I'll buy both of the mom and the dad. So we bought like 8 snakes, I think, total, plus brought our 2 back. And I said, and to make you happy, I'll go and get these tested. And so I took them to the vet. And my mistake was because it was the vet. I didn't think nothing of it. I didn't quarantine those snakes when we brought them back. So the next morning, the one died. But we also got back the results that said that they were both clean. There was no issues. So they were negative for everything. So I said, well, we come back and that one died. Don't know why. So we just chopped it up to a heart attack or whatever, didn't worry about it. So then systematically snakes started dying. And it got so bad. So we had 133, and it got so bad that predictable, that I could tell exactly when the next snake was going to die. Like,
So did they ever pinpoint that it
yeah,
was IBD?
yeah. So I called the veterinarian one day. I said, listen, I got 130 snakes, 137 snakes, I think total was what it was. And I said, I got 15 that have died and I can't explain it. So I said, I can predict the next one that's going to die. And she said, well, bring that one here. I said, I can predict 2. I said, I can give you one that we produced and I can give you one that we brought in, an adult and a baby. She said, bring them both in. So we brought them in. They died and she tested it and it was IBD or arenavirus. So me and her talking on the phone, and she goes, well, I've been helping this other breeder, and I looked at my records, and you guys brought your snakes in on the same day. I said, well, so this is all your fault. So yeah, so there was one day we lost 17 snakes overnight.
So let me ask you a question and a caveat on this.
Yeah.
When you bring in a new snake or something into your collection, other than your quarantine procedures, do you yourself test? Do you send tests off for the known R respiratory diseases and stuff?
If we're gonna be totally honest, I am a firm believer that I forget if Chris said it or Sean said it. One of them said it. If you got more than 10 ball pythons, you got Nido. You can go ahead.
Steve Tillis, I don't know if you guys know him. He's Reptilis Hertz from back in the day. He actually went on to be like a biologist or something with the snakes and whatnot. And he said that exact thing. If you have snakes in numbers, you have it. It's just a lot of times it could be brought on by a stressor, whether it's breeding or anything like that. But it can, you test for it and it just doesn't show up. So
let's put Nido in the conversation on an even playing field. We just had a DG fiasco, right? So how many people are upset about the DG fiasco? And you're just on the same playing field with Nido. Do you got it or you don't got it? Because there's certain times you can test a Nido positive and it'll come back negative.
Right.
So what you're saying is you don't test because it's inconclusive sometimes.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So, but I can tell you that quarantine works. We had 6 snakes in quarantine that are all still living today.
What's your quarantine procedures like then? Like what do you do?
So
how separated do you keep? Say you bring in 5 snakes.
Yeah.
You're quarantining them all. Well, how do you keep them quarantined from each other?
2 different rooms. So, so you mean 5 snakes from different people?
Yeah. What you know?
Yeah,
What
yeah.
happened?
So say I went to Tinley and we went to Tinley, we bought 7 snakes. We got a rack for those 7 snakes. I'm not gonna be I have to be realistic. I can't have a snake in every room because then my whole house would be 77 or 75 at least. And
And
nobody
I'm asking this,
yeah.
for me, I understand, but for the
Right.
people that may be watching this that have never dealt with that, that's
Yeah.
what I'm trying to get us to explain is how how deadly some of this stuff can be now that you're talking about it, right? And 2, some of the things we can do to circumnavigate the difficulties of it.
I would rather quarantine 7 snakes that I got from Tinley by themselves and lose those 7 than lose my collection. And I don't
100%.
care. I don't care if that 7 cost 100,000 and those cost 25,000. I don't care. Yeah.
So Billy, like yourself, he's got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of snakes.
Yeah.
And Billy does not test for Nido. He says I'll sell snakes at a better price than others. He said, and you can get it tested. He stands behind his animals, but he won't test. We tested one snake once because it randomly passed from a reputable breeder, and it tested negative. So we went back to, and we said it must have been just failure to thrive. It was a younger one, probably weighing about 150, 200 grams. It passed, but no different than yourself. We do the same thing. We've got one room. We put anything that comes new into the house. That's where they go.
Yeah.
Any food that goes in that room goes. If it doesn't get eaten, it goes directly in the garbage.
Yeah.
Anything that goes in that room gets cleaned and sanitized before it gets into the other rooms. And sometimes, depending on how many animals I have from different breeders, usually I'm pretty good about not bringing. If we don't bring a ton of stuff all at the same time, or if we do, it's not that I'm going to say some. It's not Joe Blow down the street. A lot of them are pretty reputable. But
Yeah.
if I was more concerned, I would treat because it's not a rack system in there. It's actually Rubbermaid containers that I put on heat mats.
Yeah, and that's totally fine.
But I like it because it keeps each individually quarantined on its own. So I can take one container out with the lid, everything, and it's separated from the other animals. So I find it's almost like an individual quarantine. So I can separate each animal and treat each animal as itself.
Yeah. For me, it's like if someone were to say, "Hey, we got Nido, and this is how we're dealing with it," I think the community should applaud that and stand behind that person.
The dead to us, Paul decided to join the chat. He must have got off of Chris's show and decided to jump over her.
Hopped over here real quick.
We have Chris we have Paul 2.0 in the house now. For those of you guys that don't know,
but I think that the community shouldn't be difficult with those breeders. But at the same time, those breeders need to be doing the right thing because
the breeders that hide it, right? That try to hide it and sell sick animals. That know they're sick and they're out there. Man, we know they're out there. Those are the guys that need to be blackballed. If you made them, or if you all of a sudden get some sick snakes, or you get a snake that you didn't know was sick and you sold it, it's different.
Shit happens, but I mean, there's also the people that are, deliberate about it. They know that it's sick and they still send it.
Yeah,
there's people like
mistake. There's a big difference,
right? And there's been shipment, not personally here, but I've heard stories of, you open the snake bag and the thing's crawling with mites. There's no way you put that in the snake bag and did not see that.
Yeah. They don't grow that bad within 2 days.
No, you put it in there with mites crawling on it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Gerald, how long? How long has this current business been up and running? And
yeah, so when I got, like I was saying, I was getting those messages. I said, look, I gotta just do this 6-month thing anyway. So we went silent on all things, and then sat there and I was listening to a podcast, and the guy was like, you gotta just move forward in a positive trajectory or whatever, and then that was the light bulb for Forward Motion Reptiles then. So I went and got everything made up, saved everything. I still wasn't posting just yet. So I think so this is 24. So we had 7 clutches in 23, and then 22 we had the 1 clutch. So it'd have been like January of 22 is when I came on live, I think.
Cool.
Somewhere around there.
Awesome.
Yeah. So which is the same time, I did my the hangout sessions. So we did those 10, and no, we're just doing those 10 a year on that show.
So what? So you have your own podcast going on now. I know that Paul jumps in on that. The Paul that's dead to us now. That's not here.
Kicking him out of the chat.
Yeah, kicking him out of the chat.
Did you? That's funny.
No. Inside joke, which you should be privy to.
Yeah. I gotcha.
So what's spurring that? Like, what's your end goal with that podcast? Like, what are you guys trying to promote?
I just want to bring on. We're just hanging out. We're just having fun. So it's a lot of these podcasts are super, super serious. A lot of misinformation, and I want to bring on people that we know are going to be here in the future. So the first year, I only lost one of the episodes. That breeder's not with us anymore. So this year, I think we did pretty good. I haven't heard Paul say unbelievable in a long time, actually. But the goal is just to hang out with people and dive into a different version of a conversation with them, where we can get more deep into who they are and what they're doing and everything. So you guys got to agree, right, that it's kind of annoying to hear the same questions over and over from every podcaster, and I don't care how good any of them think they are, it's the same questions over and over, just reworded. So I just try to go a different direction. I think we're doing good with that. Yeah, and then me and Paul. So I knew Paul before he became the lamest in the world, and I don't know. It's kind of like question my judgment on people, but yes, dear. So we were talking about maybe doing a podcast one day together, and just with the series of events that we're all aware of, it kind of just got down. We were going to do the health and nutrition stuff. And so I started diving into that. And what I've been finding out is YouTube has been shutting those guys down like big time. So I said, well, I don't want to do that. If it's just going to be, if we're set up for failure, there's no sense in doing it. So then I was like, well, I got to do these 10 episodes for the hangout sessions. And I asked him if he wanted to join. So he said, yep. So that's how we're doing it.
You're probably better off, because we all know that Paul is the pinnacle of health and nutrition.
You said it with a straight face.
I tried to say it with a straight face, and I can't. I love you, Paul. Paulie bag of dicks.
Yeah. He sent me a bag of dicks.
Bag of donuts.
I heard about this. I heard that he sent you a bag of dicks.
He did. It's a true story. So I got this tube in, and it's about that tall, and I wasn't even thinking about it, and it's not addressed from Paul or anybody I know, and I'm like, what is this thing? And I'm thinking like I don't know what I was thinking. I just was like, so I opened it up, and it had the popper top on the top and the bottom, and it was super light. I said, this has got to be a picture or a because I was getting stickers too. So I was like, it's got to be somebody's stickers or something. And I was like, this is pretty cool. They found a company, just shipped the sticker straight out to you. So I live on the 3rd floor of this apartment building, and I get up to the last flight, and I pop it open. These dicks go everywhere. I think I still got pictures. Yeah. So
It's a glitter
they're
bomb.
glitter bomb of dicks. Yeah. Yep.
Glitter
Nice.
bomb of dicks.
So I'm out there picking up these thousands of dicks off the floor, carpeted floor to top it off. So, which he didn't know that I knew this. I used tape and wrapped my hands wrapped the tape backwards, and I was just picking it up
Just
that way.
Picking it up the easy way.
Yeah, yeah.
Shots fired, Paul. Shots fired. Hope you hear this.
Well, it's because we're not calling him a Nazi right
No
now.
Nazis.
Thanks, Mike.
Well, awesome,
Yes.
man. We really do appreciate you jumping on tonight, man. And
Yeah, you did. You asked me, and I kind of like I had just opened when I responded. I had just opened Instagram. We were getting ready to figure out what we were gonna do, and then I
you
seen
look
that.
like
So
you're
like
dressed up. So
we talked about going to the movies and then decided against it. We were gonna go see Dune 2. So I don't know if you've seen the popcorn bucket for Dune 2.
Yeah, I was gonna say you got to
Yeah.
get the bucket right.
That was the whole. She hasn't
pretty-
seen it yet.
I'm pretty sure that's a gift for you for later.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was gonna be a whole joke. Yeah, but it's ruined now. So
ruined the joke.
So I told her, I said, I gotta go hang out with the boys. I can't tell the boys no, I can't leave them. Can't leave the boys hanging. That's what I told her. She was like, okay.
Well, we appreciate
Good
it.
woman.
Yeah,
Good
yeah, we
woman.
do, man. And hopefully it doesn't get you in too much trouble.
No, she was
We
fine.
ruined his popcorn bucket.
Yeah, no. We had the
Hopefully,
movies.
hopefully we didn't ruin more than that for the evening.
No.
If you've been married more than 10 minutes, it only takes a second to ruin that.
Only a second. No. No, the movie started 45
And
minutes ago.
And she's bringing you drinks?
No, I made tea. This is from earlier.
I thought she just handed it over the thing to you. I was like, damn, he's got her trained. Like
Yeah.
Dune popcorn buckets and getting drinks into you. What am I doing wrong?
Well,
No,
he's hung. He's hung like a champ.
I
There
did
you
get
go.
a new truck, so
Hey, that's
Oh.
something.
What do you guys think of the Morph Market auctions? Have you guys dabbled in it a little?
No.
So
I
I
don't
only got 3 snakes I'm willing to sell, and they're not auction material. But I am pro auction for sure.
So I bought a couple. I think it's great for people who are patient and want to play the odds. However, if you got gambling addiction, I think it's highly addictive
I guess
and could be a big problem.
so. I was on
Yeah.
one of Jessica's holdback rack auctions, right? And I was just bidding stuff up, trying to help the breeders out. And then, but it was only the stuff I was willing to take. So I bid like $210 on this OD clown posset pie girl. I was like, I could take her, but the 210 was my last bid, and I got her in the rack in there throwing up. She had a winged rat today.
That
It's
could be an
also a
expensive
shame to
game.
get stuck with something that you didn't
Yeah.
really want.
Yeah. Well, I learned a valuable lesson that day because I'd much rather bought another desert ghost girl.
So
Yeah, like the
depending
stuff
on
we have left is I don't think it's auction. I mean, it's like $200 and less stuff. So I mean, shipping
No.
alone on that.
so the ones that I've seen that are doing it and doing, I'm gonna say okay on it, are people that have a lot of animals, and they because if you got the pro membership, I'm trying to do this right. You get so many auctions off. So like Corey Woods, he breeds a ton of animals, and he, these guys, if they don't end up selling, they find a way to get rid of the animals that to make room for their new animals, because they're gonna have new animals every year. And so that they give it and give an opportunity to everybody to bid on it. Now you can choose to have an amount that your minimum that you're willing to accept, or you can leave it open. Corey's been really great. He's putting on like really expensive animals, and he puts no limit. So like if anybody was just lucky and they just bid $5 and nobody else wanted it, they would actually get that animal. But it's quite entertaining because you watch it and it kind of grows a little bit for the first like 3 days, but that last hour it just goes absolutely crazy.
Yeah,
Like,
No one's trying to drive it up. They want to get it at the lowest price possible.
well, that's it. So like sometimes you're watching. He had I'm not sure what it went for, but it was before the last hour. He had a puzzle on there, I think it was an OD puzzle, or anyways, a visual, and it started off, it was like 500, and it went up to like in about 5 minutes went up to 900. Like it went up progressively very quickly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very quickly, and it was fun to watch. But like you said, you gotta be careful because you got to put a bid on something that you're willing to take. Because if they've now put in new rules that if you bid on something and you
that's my
basically
guy.
don't.
So let me say this real quick. This guy right here, he texted me earlier. He said, "Hey, I set an alarm to make sure that I am there for your show." So it is 42 minutes into the show, and he's just now showing up. What are you doing, Mr. Torbett? What are
You
you
hit
doing?
snooze on the alarm too many
You
times.
snooze on the alarm too many times. But thank you for showing up, man. I appreciate it. That's a local guy. He just lives about 10 minutes down the road from me. He breeds boas and stuff. Really cool dude. Really cool dude.
Cool.
So
Thanks for telling.
I've been I wouldn't say victim. I feel like victim would be a strong word, but
Everybody's a victim these days.
yeah, I guess. I don't like it, but so I got victimized on that auction thing. But so there was a snake I really did want. It was a ghost genetic striped girl, and it had no reserve on it, and I was the highest bid at, I want to say, like $600, and she was a breeder too. But if you put no reserve on it, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Well, then all of a sudden, like 5-10 minutes before the auction ended, it got bid up to like $1,500, and then got relisted as a regular for sale animal.
Nah, shit.
That's shady.
Yeah.
It wasn't a shot, Brandon. I was just fucking with you, man. I'm glad you're here. Also, if anybody needs another podcast to go watch or a show where they talk about boas specifically, for you boa people like Gerald with a G, go and follow BNT Radical Boas on YouTube. He's got some good stuff and good information, and you'll enjoy it.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, so there is the issue, and I think some of them are trying to prevent that, where either people are bidding on their own stuff or they've got a friend that bids on it to take it
Drive it up.
down, or just to take it down. Like if they're not going to get the
Oh,
numbers, that
if
they
it's not going
want,
to hit it, yeah, that's true.
they'll make them try to get it so that they can pick it off. But I've done fairly well. Like I got a super asphalt pastel het red xanthic for, I think I got for $120 a couple weeks ago. So I can't complain. So, some of them are legit and some of them are a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're cleaning up on those auctions over there.
So Herod Xanthic is the wax Xanthic also, right? Are they trying to rename it?
Het red xanthic was one of the ones that Corey Woods came up with. So there's a het red xanthic and the red xanthic. It's kind of named wrong because both of them are visual.
Right.
So,
and that's
but is that the
confusing
same?
part of it.
Is that the same gene that? Because I seen something where someone was saying that's the same gene that that guy is trying to rename Wax Xanthic, the hurricane dude. I can't think of his name.
I didn't hear that.
So
somebody Google it.
This is the red xanthic.
Here we go.
Yeah.
That's not a het. That's an actual the double version of it.
Gotcha. I love it. I love the busyness.
It's very, very busy. I like it a lot. The red xanthic is not as busy as it were. It's not that there's definitely a visual difference between the two.
Yeah.
So what I just found is that this is on the Morph Market Reptile community that Het Ready Xanthic and Lace Blackback are the same genes, just different lines.
Gotcha.
So maybe that's what you're referring to.
There's
But
a bunch of them
growing,
that people have said HRA is the same as.
well, I think that's a lot with a lot of these genes, though, is it's very similar, and people are trying to coin their own thing on it to have their own gene, their new gene. But it's like what did Billy just found the new gene that he was working with turned out to be Scrambler, correct?
I saw something where he said he thinks that might be what it is, but he's not going to say until it's proven.
Not indefinitely, but he had those I think lavender albinos that possibly are Scrambler.
Yeah.
I do not have confusion.
The benefit is now that we do have shed testing available. So as they do get better, you will be able to find out what is what. But realistically, it's really hard. Somebody finds one on the in Canada in Ottawa, and then somebody happened to get that similar pattern out in New Jersey. You got another one that gets it out in California. Like, who coins the phrase? Like, and it's going to be hard until we can test.
That happened with Hurricane, Trick, and Blitz.
Yeah,
right. One of them started on the east coast of the U.S. One of them started on the west coast of the U.S. The other one started in Europe, and it all got mingled back this way. And now with genetic testing, we can determine that it's, Maury was right. You are the baby daddy.
Like Paul said with Mace being Ken Masick's, I believe it was the extremist that Brittany Gobble and Canova were coming out calling it Mace. But they did put a video out clearing that up, that they're kind of Mace and Masick kind of keeping it back to him on that one. But
he's already renamed the video. He took Mace out of the title and changed it to extremist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
I know a lot of people were upset with that.
Brittany Gobble works with extremist gene, and she's big into it and pops it out. Really, really, really pushing extremists. And I think the biggest thing is like determining what gene. Like if you have 2 or 3 genes that pop out that are the same, what makes one more valuable than the other is how much effort somebody put into promoting that gene in the forehand, right? As soon as it came out. So if you look at Hurricane, Trick, and Blitz, and I use this as an example because it was really the first one that we thought was, but then it took genetic testing to prove that it was the same gene, right? It was, we knew that Banana Core Glow was, we knew that Lesser Butter was, we waited, But with those 3, you look at Hurricane and how much publicity Hurricane got and where the price point was on Hurricane versus where it was on Trick. And that was because of who established it and how much effort they put into promoting it with pictures, putting it into combos, and then promoting it with bigger names. And that's why Hurricane's price point was so much better than Trick's was. Even Blitz. Blitz was probably, in my opinion, Blitz is probably the lesser known of the 3. Yeah. And that's because they did not promote it right. And I think that's with any gene that we see coming in. It depends on how it's promoted versus how it's going to sell in the future. Somebody said something about a gene earlier. I saw it in the chats. I'll come back to it. But they're thinking about renaming it because it didn't get promoted well. And
kind of like a rebranding on it.
Yeah. So they're talking about rebranding it. And I can't remember what gene it was. I remember seeing it in the chat earlier. And as soon as I see it again, it'll pop into my head. But
are you talking about Mace?
No, not Mace. It was before that. It's another.
Was it Nanny?
Nanny.
I can't see.
Nanny.
Okay. Yeah.
Nanny. They're talking about renaming Nanny.
Yeah.
And trying to re-promote it. But the dude from Darien said he would not rename it on Morph Market.
Right.
But maybe it needs a reboost. Maybe you just eliminate Nanny altogether.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's the same. Like you look at the Ford, I don't know, Ford whatever. If it sucked and the name didn't go well and they didn't brand it right and they didn't promote it right, you come out 5 years later with the same exact car but a cooler name and better promotions. That car is going to sell like hotcakes.
Yep.
It's just the same thing with snakes.
100%. Billy actually said that when he was talking about the Ultramel, and that's why he says went into Ultramel. He liked Ultramel. He's got nothing against Monarch. He's got nothing. He just said, "What? I'm in this one. Why would I talk about anything else?" He says, "I'm going to push the product I have." So
Right.
he likes that product and he pushes that product. And that goes to the same thing you were talking about 2 podcasts ago, Jared. It's also the look of that product. And if your look of your product happens to be nicer, whether it be you just took 2 nicer animals or whatever you did, if yours happens to look nicer, you take better pictures of it and it looks nicer, it's going to give that brand a better look, a better sell than anything else. Especially if you can push it on, you know, you go to sports things, you look at soccer players. If you see them with the Nike swoosh and whatever, and they're amazing soccer players, that just increase that brand right there. So if you can take your animal and you can sell it to uh, people like Justin from Canova, Leviathan, Small Town Exotics, other brands that and they start pushing and saying, this is the best gene. It doesn't matter what it is. But if they start pushing your product and saying, this is the cat's ass and this is what you guys need to get into, that branding will create itself.
It's like the difference
Yeah.
between Amazon and Wish.com, right? You may end up with the same product, but Wish.com is going to be 20%, 30% cheaper because it's Wish.com.
Yeah.
It wasn't promoted well.
You're going to get it in 7 months.
Yeah, Amazon has been promoted really well. That may be a bad example, but Temu, like you get
Yeah.
the same products off any of those websites, but
Yeah.
is it the same?
It is. The only difference is what, like he was saying, Amazon's got warehouses every 4 blocks, so you're going to get it next day. You go to Temu, you might get it in 6 to 12 weeks.
Yeah. Forget about that. You ordered it, and then you're, oh wow, shows
Holy
up.
jeez, look what came in.
You guys are gonna see a lot of Amazon buildings popping up. They're adopting this hub and spoke delivery system. And it seems to be working really well.
We've got a
Yeah,
lot
we've got
of
a few
Amazon.
of them out by me. So
Paul put a note here. He says, "Yeah, but if the person who discovered it, should they have a say in the changing of the name?" I think you have one opportunity, one chance. Eminem said it best. You name it right the first time, or because you might not get a second chance to rename it.
It's not just
right.
about naming it, but you've got, even if you have a shitty name, like look, but Coral Glow is a shitty name. But was it promoted right? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It was promoted enough to where it could compete with Banana, to where
Right.
somebody thought that it was similar but different enough to be a different gene. And it was promoted well enough to where it took traction. It's not just about the name. There's a lot of shitty names on some animals out there.
Yeah.
But if they're promoted well, they can really take hold and they can take off.
We have a recent example of that, right? So there's potential that Zebra and Mackenzie are the same. I'm not saying they're the same, but there's potential that they are, right?
I've heard that talk. Yeah.
But
Allegedly.
Mackenzie, let's say allegedly, I like allegedly, but let's say they are for conversation's sake. The Mackenzie was gone. Nobody had it. You couldn't hear, you never heard nothing about Mackenzie. I knew nothing of Mackenzie up until here recently. I didn't know it was a gene. It was gone. And apparently a few people had it. They just weren't mentioning it. And then Zebra, somebody said, hey, we're going to redo it, rework it, and do better stuff with it and rename it Zebra, but we're not going to tell nobody. So if the gene is, basically out of the hobby and someone, creates Zebra, then that's what's wrong with that. I don't know. The gene was gone. Nobody was working with it anyway. But
I think the problem is going to be now when
Yeah.
somebody decides to do the testing of it. So I agree
Yeah.
with you. If something dies off and kind of disappears off the rock, and nobody still had anyone still existing, and
Yeah.
that comes up, I agree with you. There's no problem with that. But once everybody puts in their database that, okay, like this is the zebra gene, then you got to get in touch with everybody and say, okay, we're unanimously changing this, so change all your systems.
Yeah.
I think
Well,
that's going to be the difference.
I wish they would change Nanny over. I think if they let this Mace thing go through, they need to let the Nanny Carnage thing go through.
There is nothing wrong with rebranding.
Yeah.
People rebrand, companies rebrand, products rebrand, and they come
Yeah.
back with a name that suits the product better and that takes traction better.
Yeah.
Nanny is a shitty name. It wasn't promoted correctly. Therefore, it didn't get the traction that it deserved. Nanny's a good gene. There's a lot of things to do.
I got a super nanny
as nannies. But Nanny's still a cool friggin' gene. But the name Nanny has a stigma to it now, and nobody touches it.
Well, and if you can rebrand it and get that traction going again, and then more people can make cool stuff with it, and then it's just not a gene that dies out. I mean, like Lace, I believe, was around for a while, and nobody was really working with it anymore. Like you could get Lace for 150, $200, and then Justin start popping out these cool Lace clowns and other Lace combos, and now it's taken off.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Nanny needs something like that.
But
yeah,
on the other side of the spectrum, it didn't take Lace being rebranded as something else.
Well, correct. Yeah, I mean, it just took someone putting the right stuff to it.
Yes. So, and I get what Paul's saying there with that. Like it maybe it just needs the right eyes on it to see the potential in it to make it go further. But I also don't think that there's anything wrong with rebranding and coming up with a name that's going to allow people to gain more interest in it than what it's doing now.
But I think people create a name. Brian Barchuk, God rest him, he named the Lori gene. Is it the fanciest name? No, but he named it for the love of his wife. So I think it's respectable. I think it's great and wonderful that he did that. Is it as cool as something he could have named it? No, but he branded it. That's his gene. That's what he wanted to call it. And power to him for labeling it that. If that's what you want to label it, if you want to name one after your daughter because you come up with it, who's to judge you on that? They can name the combos. You can put that with this and this, and we'll call it this. But that's your choice. That's your prerogative, and it might not. The GHI gotta have it. Like that's a great name because everybody says, "What's GHI?" Gotta have it. Well, I think everybody owns one GHI in their collection.
At least one. That was a gene that was named great, and it was promoted well. And when it was fresh, even today, one of the top selling snakes, at least in our area, is a GHI Mojave.
Oh yeah,
they look great.
They look great. The name was great. It was promoted well, and anybody that doesn't have GHI in their collection, I would bar to say that 99% of ball python breeders have at least one GHI in their collection.
We'll have some next season for sale if you don't have any. Just hit us up.
There you go.
Nice plug there.
Shameless plug. I like it.
That was smooth.
We're pairing a ultramel het clown to a GHI het clown. That's my most GH on the GHI side. That's the one I'm most excited for. But we did a OD banana ghost pied to a GHI het pied. That's gonna be pretty cool clutch too.
I've got 2 GHI combos from last year that are still sitting in my hatchling rack that I cannot believe didn't sell. There's a GHI or Mystic GHI, Pastel Mystic GHI trick. And I cannot believe these things haven't sold because they are freaking bomb.
GHI Mystics are really nice alone, so I couldn't. Yeah.
The trick took the dorsal pattern, which is already kind of great, like chain link almost, and it really waved it out, man. It's almost like it's got a full snake going down the whole dorsal with little links in it. Oh, it's super cool.
Is it a female or a male?
I got a 1.1.
Oh, I'm surprised the male didn't sell because Paul's buying all the males.
Neither one of them have sold. They're still sitting there.
Paul's a big male fan. He's a real super male heavy. He loves them.
It's not a bad thing to have males because you get that one that you want and it's not doing its thing, and you got to have that runner up.
Yeah, that's true.
Two females coming in from Corey Woods from that auction on Tuesday. 2 breeder females, Phantom, GHI, Het Xanthic. So I get those on Tuesday.
Did you see where they came out and said Phantom and Mystic are the same gene?
I've heard that. Yeah.
They tested it. They came out and tested and said Phantom and Mystic are the same. Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
Well, but they're also saying Lesser and Butter are the same. But I don't know. I own a Lesser and a Butter, and I keep them separated, like name wise, and I'm not changing them.
Yeah,
because
we do as well.
On the Butter, you can see it's a little more yellow than on my Lesser. So I'm still keeping the naming the same. Like they can rename if they buy it from me or whatever. But a Butter I find has a little more tones of yellow than the Lesser does. And
I think that goes back to line breeding.
Could be. I'm just saying in the ones I have, the Butters are evidently yet more yellow than the Lessers.
And yours, you made sure they don't have that daddy gene.
Daddy. Yeah, Blatty Daddy.
Yeah, well, if it has it, they're not telling me it has it.
Yeah. So Daddy was
that's
gene.
old school.
Yeah, Daddy was a gene I almost considered like getting heavy into as much as I could, and then I don't know. One day I just decided not to.
So they have come to find out that, and we've talked about this in our show, or maybe not. Maybe we've talked about this in private chats. That there are, in the alleles, right, in the helixes, that you have genes that show up, right. That's how we know whether it's that this marker has showed up in the same spot in the same animals that are saying they have the same gene. Well, with the DG A, B, and C, the reason they're saying they thought they were different genes is because they had different markers down the trail. Well, they've come to say that these are what they're calling kicker and enhancer markers, right? So even some of the other genes that we have, depending on what it was bred with when it first came out, you may have a Butter and a Butter. This Butter looks crisp. It's great. It's super yellow. It's got all the things that we say, this is what a Butter should look like. Then you have another one that is, it's a little browned out. It doesn't look as crisp. It's not as pretty. Well, they're going down the helix and looking at the DNA and saying, okay, this line has this kicker, this enhancer marker. This one doesn't. Okay. So the DGs that they're seeing, like DGA and DGC, well, the DGC is what everybody's wanting to go after because DGC lines have the enhancer and the kicker genes in them, which make them brighter, which is what everybody's wanting. So you're getting, in some of these other ones, the reason it happened is because you're getting these DGs that don't have the kickers. So technically it's a DG, but it doesn't look as good as what the other DGs that you're seeing other people have. And that's because it doesn't have the kicker or the enhancer genes down the helix. So that's something cool that's starting to come out that I'm really digging the science part of it. And I think
now that they're playing with
so much difference and variance in the morphs.
Yeah.
So I paired a enhancer G stripe to a double het DG G stripe, and we hit 3 DG / enhancer. We hit 3 visual animals. One is clearly DG, one is clearly enhancer, and one is clearly in between the two. Like you can see it in all
You can
three.
see the visual difference.
Yep. But
So
if I show you on
kicker genes, like
yeah,
you know the line, the lineage, right? The lineage based. So I think they're starting to find that out. That they're starting to find the lines have other kickers to discern them from one another. So I'm hoping that comes down the line with, say, butter and lesser, and even some of the lesser known genes that we have. Hey, what's up, Luke?
Hey, Luke. With the DG stuff, I like what Antoine did, and I am gonna do what he did and just call them enhanced DGs. Those 3 in particular.
No, this is like you're not going to be. You're not going to.
Not everybody's going to be happy. Yeah.
Right. No matter what you
do. It's come to a great experience, and the further we get down this rabbit hole, you're just never going to make everybody happy. It's getting worse and worse.
We'll always have three straight up. So it'll be DG, then we'll have enhanced DGs, and we'll have enhancers. And that lineage, for the way I'm set up, it'll be easy to keep it in line. Where with the customers, I can say, hey, look, this is what it is.
Right. They can trace back.
Yeah. Yep.
And some people don't even like DG, and they just go straight up enhancer, and they say they like the enhancer better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They say it's a little more crisp. But again, that's opinion based, and some of them it's just part of their brand, and they're trying to say, hey, this is what I think is best, kind of like a branding.
Yeah. Well, it's all opinion based, right? So with line breeding, right? So some people say you want a clean animal, and some people want a granity animal. It could be the same, and one guy can be breeding to have more speckles throughout the animal, and the other guy can be breeding to remove all the speckles and make it just look like a blade-ish type animal, but not without blade. You can do all that stuff. So and we've seen it.
Well, that's the great thing about this is it's something for everybody, and you can kind of make your own mark on it. You don't have to do what everybody else is doing.
Yeah, look at Chris Hernan with that deep orange line. I saw that in person. It's gorgeous. Yeah. So he didn't stumble on that on accident. He just kept breeding the best of the best. That was his version of the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take that. Leopard geckos are the same way. Tangerine is a line bred trait. It's not a genetic trait. It's line bred. They took the same normal leopard gecko that had spots of orange, and they kept breeding it back and back and back until they got something that was completely orange. I mean, the Black Knights is not a recessive or dominant, a co-dominant trait. It's a line bred trait. So I think that we have that in ball pythons too. We just maybe don't know quite that it's there. Yeah. He was watching your show, Chris.
What's up, Chris?
He was watching your show, Chris.
he ditched us for you.
Chris was on. Chris popped in yesterday.
The answer to that one, Luke, is how many times are you willing to do it? It's not how many times should you do it. You could do it once, and all depending on what the genetics are, have nothing but kinks and ball python. So it's kind of
spider. It's 0.
Yeah, but how they find that out? By breeding spider, trying it again, breeding spider, and saying, "Holy shit, this doesn't work."
Yeah.
So this is just my opinion on it. I think that some of these, as I've only been in the breeding side of it since 2020, but every year, as more people are getting in, I've noticed that there have been more issues hidden behind incubation issues.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm like, I don't know if that's incubation. That might be That might be more of a like what he was saying, a line breeding issue with the ball pythons, a familial issue or whatever you want to call it.
Right. Well, we've known someone that's had clutches with like whole clutches with no eyes. You know, with shark mouth, stuff like that. Like, how much can you blame that on incubation?
Yeah.
I mean, some things, yeah, sure, but not everything.
Well, they're starting to prove that like lower incubation temperatures and giving them longer to incubate, it will autocorrect some of those issues. So say you have like a super black pastel, right, is known for kinking. Well, if there's some people that are saying that if you incubate those clutches at a lower temperature, that it gives it more time to correct itself in the egg. So you're less likely to have kinks and stuff out of those combos. And they're starting to prove that out, and that's something that I've been keeping an eye on. I think there's
That'd be
something
interesting if that proves out, because there's a lot of cool combos like that you notoriously get those issues, and if you can kind of expand the incubation period to counteract that, I mean that'd be a good thing.
How did I get to be Ryan?
Snakes. Chris said that he was getting confused having two Geralds on, so I said, well, maybe we can give him a different name. He said, we'll call
Just
him
call
Ryan.
him Ryan.
That's fine.
He changed him to Ryan.
I didn't change him to Ryan. Put it at the bottom.
I didn't do it. Oh, that's fine.
You're Ryan now.
Gerald with a J.
Gerald with a J.
Oh, Chris has a question for Ryan.
I can't see it.
All right, let's hear it, Chris.
We are waiting, sir.
This is the part where I put my hat back on.
Yeah, no, there's a lot being said about the incubation. I'm trying mine a little lower this year, but I'm gonna let it run the full 60 days plus before I start effing with them.
Last year we ran the 91.
Okay.
And we got 27, I think it was 27.17. Wow. So this year we're going back to 89.
I ran 91 last year, and I had so many deformities or animals that came out, and they were so hard to start feeding. Like I'm talking like 2-3 months of assist feeding. Wow. And they're still not taking off. So I will never run that high of incubation temperatures ever again. Like so I even dropped down this year to probably 87. I think is where I'm going to run 87, 88.
I'm
that
88.
91, dude, I lost this last year. I probably lost out of 8 clutches. I had 79 eggs. I lost 11.
Yeah.
This last year. And that was either from kinks or failure to thrive. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm just not doing that this year. And some of them are and it never fails. It's the prettiest babies you have.
Oh, of course.
They are the worst.
Yeah. We keep ours at 89. And
are you married?
Yeah. So I'm not married. I might as well be married, but yeah. So, but yeah, 88's where we're going, and that's 88 in the tub. So I hang my thermostat probe in the middle of the incubator, so it's like just suspended there. So that's set at like 91, but inside the tub it's 88.
So then as the eggs cook, it does generate the heat towards the end too. Right. So you're going to raise that temperature towards the end.
Yep.
And I will not cut again until they pip. Like I don't care what the temps are, how many days it is. If I don't have at least two that have pipped already, I'm not cutting again.
I got you.
I feel like we cut too early. We cut based on a day, not based on the clutch, because each one's a little different. And I've cut some at 57, 58 days, and
they weren't ready.
I think if the eggs are still juicy, like it's probably let it go. We like to see some heavy dimpling, and
Yeah.
that's usually a good indicator.
An old set of ball sack. You got to grab it. You got to fondle it a little bit.
Gerald, I don't know how many. I don't just get one set of ball sacks that I touch.
Look how he's paused. That's the perfect.
Look, I don't know if you know this about the other Gerald, the Canadian Gerald, but he used to be a stripper, and I don't think that he discerned male from female tips. So he might know what
a tip's
the
a tip.
The old wrinkly balls are. You see, Chris said last episode too. He said I was spitting some truths.
I think that where new breeders get caught up with the cutting is they cut that first one and they don't realize they can stop if it's not ready. They don't have to cut the whole clutch.
They finish the clutch off.
Yeah, if you cut that first one, and it's not ready, you can just wrap it back up, put it back in there, come back.
So Brandon, all my incubators are homemade, off of like drink coolers, small drink coolers. That's what I use. The first one I used was Igloo, like a 48 can Igloo cooler. That was the first one I ever used, and I had 100% success rate out of it. When I went to the drink coolers with the glass window, that's when I started having issues.
You lose heat through the glass, and then the gap in where the door slides too, even. But
and make sure the sun's not beating down on it.
Right? Yeah, you don't want to cook it.
Like I did, and they are expensive. It's definitely the way to go, in my opinion.
Say again, you're breaking up.
You cut out.
If you had the money, I would say Wilbanks is the way to go because it does do the heating and cooling. So depending on where you are, especially you guys in the hotter climates, at least it'll bring it back down and keep it consistent, whatever you set it at. So that is something I would love to get eventually because it all depends on when my clutches are in. Even for us, my wife doesn't do well with air conditioning. Her juvenile rheumatoid arthritis kicks in, flares up. Anyways, so the temperatures in the house can spike depending on the temperatures outside. And like you said, depending on what type of incubator you have and how well insulated or not insulated it is, it can fluctuate and spike depending on the temperatures.
One thing that I learned the hard way is that LED lights in your incubator, while aesthetically pleasing, will also raise the temperatures by 5 degrees or more in your incubator. So anybody that's watching this and you want to have an incubator and you want to do the build yourself and put some LED lights in there, it will raise the temperature and you will cook eggs.
That's a good tip. We have LEDs in one of ours. We only ever turn it on to like if we're pulling eggs out of it. But yeah, that's a good tip.
You leave them on too long, it'll raise the temperature in it.
And not only that too, but the fan motors you use for circulation can generate heat as well.
Computer fan motors are the best ones. You can buy them directly off Amazon. They have 3 speed settings, and they throw.
Oh, look at his mouth right there. Mouth shape. Oh, he's back. Sorry, we got to quit talking about it.
Yeah, Jared drooling over here.
So we got a sea serpents, and we got one that I built too. And then the one I built has the USB fans that he's talking about.
Yeah,
those computer fans are awesome, man. As long as you have spacing.
Yeah. One of the biggest thing is make sure you can got the airflow throughout the tubs.
With that, the lesson I learned from last year, and like I put a straight piece of PVC in, just trying to flatten the rack because one of the racks that I got, one of the incubators that I got, it was pre-built. It was a wine cooler, but it had the wavy rack. And now he's like, hey, this thing is the tubs are teeter-totter and stuff, and it's not holding. The eggs are flopping back and forth. Can you put something flat racked in there? Like, yeah. I'll just cut a piece of PVC, slide it in there. Well, I never moved my fan to account for the PVC. So that PVC got heat and it held heat really well, which PVC does.
Okay.
And it's just something I didn't think about. And I ended up cooking a couple clutches and had some incubation issues because of my dumbass fault that I didn't cut any grooves in it to allow for airflow to go through. Yeah. So from now on, when I do one, I go to Lowe's and I get a little wire rack that you can cut, that you hang up in your house, whatever, for your laundry. Yeah, and that's what goes in there. So that's how I separate it now, to make sure that I have good airflow. And something else that people don't think about is the water bottles in the bottom. Like, you see it and you don't understand why it's there at first. But if you've done this a minute or two and at one point or another, power is going to go out, right? Yep. Or you're going to open the door, and when you close it, the temperature is either going to drop or it's going to spike. Those water bottles in the bottom, enough of them, are going to equalize the heat. They're going to keep it more consistent than it just being empty. So water bottles in the bottom, 100%. Wire rack shelves, 100%.
Sal up there in Canada, House of Gaia, that guy, he mentioned, he was like, well, I don't know why people do water bottles. He does cast iron or aluminum and sand. He's like, it holds heat and dissipates heat way better than water bottles. So I haven't done that yet, and because I keep forgetting about it. And I always do the water bottles. But now that I think about it, I think I'm gonna go buy the stuff to do the sand. He's like, think about it. You go to the beach, the sand is always hot. Yeah, it's always hot. So
it may be a density thing.
Yeah,
and just nobody thinks about sand. Most of us have water bottles in our house, so it's really accessible. That's probably why I use water.
A little bit easier.
Sand. I've got sand here that I use for the Jewel Lacertas and stuff, but I never thought about it in my incubator. It's a good idea.
We use play sand. So we lost power one year with 8 clutches in the incubator, and we lost power for 6 days, I think it was. And what I did was I was boiling, because we still had gas. I was boiling water. So I was using heat packs for shipping and putting them in there. And I was boiling water because we didn't have a generator. So I was boiling water and filling up tubs with coconut and vermiculite and the boiling water and putting that in there too. And I was able to keep the temps right at, well, according to the, analog thermometer, right at that 86 mark for the whole time. And then we got power back, let it slowly get back up to 88. And we didn't have any problems with any of those clutches.
Hey, I don't know if Paul's still in here or not, if he's watching, but if you are, see, this is the information and the cool, little snippets that we're trying to get from you that you never give us. This is the better Yankee. Just throwing that out there, Paul, in case you're watching.
Why poke the bear? Why?
Oh, because I can.
He's got to.
You guys got
shit. I'm saying, mama, khakis.
Sometimes poking the bear is not the best decision.
I love poking that bear. He's so cute.
He's a cute bear.
Cute and cuddly.
Do you prefer him with or without the beard?
The bears?
No, Paul.
Your bear.
Paul. I like Paul better with the beard.
Okay. Have you seen him with just the mustache?
I have not.
So
I don't think I have.
He video chatted me with just the mustache. I was crying on the floor laughing. He's calling me an asshole the whole time, and I get up and I look at him again, and it sounds like I was overreacting, but really I was laughing. I couldn't. It's hilarious.
You might have to make a cameo with that one show.
Yes. I love Paul. I love Paul to death. And I hope he's on here and he's listening to this because he knows that I love him. but I also love fucking with Paul. That's probably like 99% of the favorite thing I ever do in a day is fucking with Paul. If I can make him say, you fucking dick, I'm happy. That makes my day. That's top marks.
You got to buy him a male ball python. He loves them.
I need to send
him
him
a couple
dicks, apparently.
Does he really have that many males?
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't even have that many ball pythons. He's got a lot of rack space and a lot of racks, but it doesn't even, and like 3/4 of it's empty.
I make fun of him for that, but I do envy him for it.
Yeah, it's nice to have that space when you don't have it.
Yeah,
he's not gonna think it's nice when he probably does now, but when he actually has to buy all of them. Look at that Guido ass looking motherfucker.
That's great.
So I think he was talking to you that day, and he called me afterwards.
Oh, did he?
And he said he was talking to you, and he's like, he was rolling around on the ground and crying.
I was.
We're laughing so hard.
I couldn't breathe. You know how like your muscles start to hurt and you start cramping? It was horrible. It was painful.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Sorry, Paul. I showed the picture if you're napping and just listening to this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. His vagina is really bleeding today. You know, he's got a migraine.
So
but he showed up for our show this morning. So
yeah.
I think Batman made an appearance too.
Touche, motherfucker. Chris, are you a big comic fan?
Me?
Chris?
Yeah.
Not really.
Not really. Is anybody here a big comic fan? Like, or ever like really kept up with Batman, Superman?
Just a small amount, yeah.
Okay, where are we going with this?
Yeah.
I need to tell you guys I need to show you guys my Batman impression.
Okay.
All right, are y'all ready?
Sure.
Oh no, kryptonite.
Is there a punchline to this?
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
isn't kryptonite Superman?
Yeah.
So you're supposed to say that's
Superman.
Oh.
Yeah. Thanks, buddy.
You're welcome.
You get it?
Yeah.
You get it out. It took my wife forever to understand that. I saw it on TikTok.
That took a minute.
Sorry. Yeah, it was a slow burn.
Yeah, that was. Well,
I think I got yelled at about the Dune popcorn bucket already.
Uh-oh.
I think she went and looked it up in there.
Uh-oh. We killed that one for you.
It's hilarious. The jokes that we tell each other are not meant for anybody else's ears. They're so funny, and it's like, wow, I wish I could tell the rest of the world because you die laughing.
Well, we do have a disclaimer at the beginning of this, so you should be good.
Thanks, Val.
I got it right. Thanks, Val. Yeah.
Thanks, Val.
You got a disclaimer at the beginning?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We do have
definitely a disclaimer.
Yeah. I'm not telling the joke.
Oh, obviously he's never watched our show, so
he comes in late.
So Gerald gives you a big.
Yeah. So what it is, I like to fill that void when I'm driving in the morning wherever I'm going. So I open up YouTube and I just hit play on whatever. So
just zone out to it. That's what I do too.
Yeah. Well, I don't even call it zoning out. I try to pick up, there's something to learn from everybody, bad or good. If someone, negative in the hobby or whatever, someone just doing things wrong, you can still learn what they're doing wrong so you don't do it.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, like, it's not the same old monotonous bullshit that you hear the same 6 songs on repeat. Yeah. You zone out to something different. Right. It's not the normal.
So this week being that you pointed out that I've been a slacker, I'll listen to all of these episodes this week.
Jared's been killing it with the facts lately, so
yeah, I know.
It's very impressive.
We're getting pearls of wisdom.
Made first sergeant, and now he's a different guy.
You know, it is what it is.
So I had a
Diamond, baby. Call me Diamond.
That's what it is.
I had a Dumerals boa.
Doing good, man. They're doing great. I love them. My daughter is she loves these things. She thinks they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. She said, "Can we get rid of all the ball pythons and get a bunch of Dumerals?" I'm like, "Man, we can. I don't give a shit."
Yeah, in 6 years. Because they took a long time growing up.
Yeah.
A long time.
Yeah.
But the peaches on them, man. The colors, the peaches, they're beautiful. I love them.
When you come to visit, if you want to smuggle this one home with you, you can take it.
No, I'm not doing that.
Because it just is the pickiest out of all my snakes, the pickiest eater I have.
And you can't ship it across, right?
No.
CITES won't ship. Yeah. So Dumerals, I had a big Dumerals girl. I could get home from work, open up her tank. She would crawl all over the house, do whatever she did. I never found snake shit. And when she was done, she would go back into her tank. I never had feeding issues with her. If I was sitting there, this was back in my video game days. If I was sitting there playing a video game, she would come out and just like sit on my legs and just sit there the whole time. Never struck at me. Just if Dumerals had the morphs like ball pythons do, ball pythons wouldn't be a conversation at all. They're the best. And I've said that, and you just proved it with your daughter. They're the best pet snake. Period. Is a Dumerals boa. The females get huge, but they're so docile. And then when you go to
huge in length, it's like huge in size.
yeah,
they're like a linebacker, right? They're like 6 foot, fucking 300 pounds. They're this big around, but they're only this long.
And they're iridescent when you take them outside. Yeah,
they're awesome.
Just a cool animal. Yeah.
I can't wait to have them grow up and be able to maybe produce a litter with them. That'd be cool.
By the time you're 60.
Yeah, they do. They take 6 years. Yeah. I just tell you to reach out to some other Dumerals breeders that are doing it successfully because there's a trick to it. And I never got into breeding them. So do you know the history behind that snake? Like the species?
No.
So in Madagascar, that's where that snake's from. So you got the Madagascar ground boa and the Dumerals boa.
Yeah.
And obviously other species, right? But the Dumerals boa, to my understanding, was on the endangered species list. We had more Dumerals boa. Actually, the first Dumerals boa was brought into Canada, and he was breeding them up there. But we had more Dumerals boas in North America than they had in Madagascar because of deforestation and everything they were doing, building up buildings and whatnot. So they closed off. I know they closed off exportation, and then I don't know where Madagascar is on CITES right now, their relationship, but I know they close it sometimes and they open it sometimes. But for a long time, it was believed that in North America was the reason that species is still alive. So, and then they got them in Europe, and then in Europe, they got an albino line, I believe.
Oh, really?
I could be wrong, I believe, but in Europe they were really trying hard for like those peaches and to get like try to find a morph. Basically, long story short.
Yeah.
But yeah, man,
I'm fixing to go somewhere overseas, and I'm gonna be there for a little while. And while I'm there, I plan on going and visiting the Hamburg show.
Yeah.
So,
nice.
I don't know if I'm going to have to keep it in my barracks under my bed, or if I'm going to have to find an importer exporter to get some shit. But I'm planning on going and seeing what they've got in Hamburg, and hopefully get something cool. Because there's a lot. So Gerald, I don't know if you know this, the new Gerald, aka Ryan. I deal with a lot of lizards. Like that's I did a lot of ball python stuff, and I'm transitioning to lizards, and I'm really starting to get into the
the Lacerta family, Lacertidia, and there are so many Lacerta lines or Lacertidia family out there that we don't have access to here in the U.S. that are just awesome pet lizards. Man, probably you want to talk about dynamite in a package, right? They're this long, maybe this long at max with a tail, and just vibrant colors and super smart. It's like a tegu in a package this big. And they are fucking amazing. But there's so many different different lines or different
subspecies.
Subspecies, yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Subspecies out there that we don't have here, and I think it'd be awesome to bring some back and start expanding that here because, why not?
Yeah,
I think it was this show. I did listen because you were talking about Joel Lacerdas, and I went on your page and looked at them. So I have listened to this show, and you're making me feel bad, and I have listened to it. It's not your fault though. So, but yeah, I did go. I went on your page and I looked at them, and I need to go look at them some more. But we do want to add another species. It was going to be Leos, and then I just decided against it. And I'm not doing cresteds because I still want to be able to leave for a week at a time. So we are looking for a lizard species we can get into that's manageable in that kind of situation.
So the cool thing about Lacertas is you can cohab them.
Yeah.
You can put them in a trio. They'll still breed in a trio. But you can dump crickets in there. The fucking my favorite thing in the world is to take a thing of crickets, put some powder on them, and dump them in, and watch these things go ham. And throughout the week, they'll chase. You'll just hear, and they'll be running around chasing crickets all week, and they'll eat all the crickets that are in there. But it is so fun to sit there and watch them just chase around and hunt. And they are so smart. Like you go up to their enclosure and you just kind of you can open the door and you can sit there and like put your hand out to them, and they will. You can tell like something's going on in their head because they'll walk up and they're just looking at your hand, and they're kind of kicking their head to the side. You can watch their eyes move, and they're watching and checking out your hand and seeing the moves that you're going to make. And then they'll either climb up on them, or they'll, I'm just gonna sit here. But sometimes they'll let you pet them. You can pet their head, and they'll just close their eyes and sit there and let you pet, or you can pet up under their chin. Dude, they're so. I cannot express how awesome these freaking lizards are.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Yeah, I've been looking at the Mexican alligator lizards. They have some pretty cool different. I don't know if they're different species of them or just colors that are in there, but I've seen some pretty cool ones as of late.
There's a lizard. I think it's called an armadillo lizard or armored armadillo lizard or something like that.
Yeah, armadillo lizard.
Yeah, that's another cool one I want to look more into. And I found a site that sold them for like $2,500, but I was at a pet store that had them for $100. So I was like, well, I gotta figure out what's going on there. I don't want to mess up if I do get
like wild caught or captive bred, or might be affecting that price.
Yeah.
So to get to Crystal's question, I'm not sure on that exact species, but Lacertas, so almost all of North America has a modern Lacerta family, right? And they're called wall lizards or wall lizards. So they're all wall or fence lizards. They're all part of the same major family. Just some of them are bigger, some of them are smaller. So that might be similar, like to like a 3-line skink or something like that. But 3-line Lacertas are probably more closely related to a wall lizard, and you can catch them. You can go out and catch them in New York, New York City, and you can catch those things. So, but they're smart, man. Super smart.
Yeah, we have tons of those fence lizards out here all over the place.
What's up, G?
my thing of the day. If you aim at nothing, you will hit nothing.
Wise words.
Right?
Yeah.
That was
All you
pretty deep,
military guys
Gerald.
must know that. There is such thing as cover fire where you're just kind of blindly shooting, but you're still kind of aiming in a general area at least.
So
Your goal is to make
shoot,
contact.
I had to shoot a M60 for when I was doing military police. So they were like,
Holy
we had to
shit.
shoot. Yeah, so we shot 200 rounds, but it was only like 20 or 30 yards, and they're like, just don't kill the squirrels. Shoot that way. All right. But yeah, that was the biggest gun I've ever shot outside of a torpedo.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we shot the 50 cals. That was cool. But that and the 249s. You play with those, Gerald?
No.
No.
We did
We're not going to talk
the
about what they get to play with. So.
Yeah. So I was Navy, so we didn't do that much stuff. So it was like the M60, the M16,
Yeah, we
the
know
shotgun and the 9.
The guns to play with in the Navy.
Yeah, playing with something, right?
We had grenade launchers, yeah, and then then after that it was the torpedoes, yeah.
Yeah, the red rockets.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, it is 15 till 10 here
You
on
did
the
a good
East.
job, boys. It was very informative today.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
I brought a surprise guest. You didn't know who
You
it was.
Yeah, look at that.
Good job, buddy.
You get Hero Biscuit today.
Ryan, AKA the real Gerald with a J, because that's how.
Gerald, thank you very much for coming and helping us out. Topics going. I think
we appreciate
today was a good one for everyone to information and even to just talk about your unlucky situation so that people can learn from it. I think that's great.
Yep.
Yeah,
anytime.
Yeah. Thanks, Paul 2.0.
Paul 2.0.
We should get stickers made.
Hey Ryan.
We should.
AKA Ryan.
AKA Ryan. Yeah.
AKA Ryan.
See our
Well,
cat.
thank you guys. I will sing us out of here.
Cool. See everybody later.
Peace, people.
Thanks.
And ciao.